YouTube, new family, what is going on? Daniel back for another video. New mic, excited. Let me give you guys some energy. Really in power. Last few days, it's been 2 days last upload, but I wanted to come on here and share something that I've realized um, has what's been able to help me grow so much, especially come out of lust, and is the one trait that if you maintain it, you're able to go to levels that only God knows and is trying to align you to and put you through and get you to. So that trait is essentially sacrifice. Sacrificing, whatever you need to in order to keep your frequency at the highest possible place, raise your frequency, and also remove all the devils, all the distractions, all the lust that most people, I myself included, used to entertain before, be it outings with people that just, lower frequency or just get you distracted. Um, Events you go to, gatherings, unless it's family, immediate family, like mother, brother, sister, dad, then most family things can, generally be avoided, especially if that family just, disconnects you, meaning, you feel like they just want to speak about the typical things, politics, news, economy, recession, stuff like that. Like it's things that have to get you in power. And for me recently, I've seen that certain, you know, people I was around in the past did serve me a purpose. But as of recently, I had to just remove myself from certain uh, environments, groups, and doing it initially obviously is the hardest thing because you're removing yourself from friendships you had or relationships or people you still have love for, you could have love for, but who you have to have the most love for is yourself. Be proud of yourself. And this is what I realized I didn't have before. It's what actually got me in lust, was not understanding first off where my frequency was, where my energy was, and also just putting things above my own peace, just growing um, within my own power energy. So like I said, I was going out above how I felt, putting trips or chasing women or dates or um, experiences that I thought I wanted or would seem cool to other people. And this was more and more just lowering my frequency. And it's something that you never understand until you live this lifestyle, that I've found thanks to my coach. And he's really teaching me the art of living, which is crazy. And this is what I'm showing to others, my students, those that are lost in lust, because I've been able to remove that as a result of this. Just growing every day, and removing more and more, sacrificing little things. Now it's big things. And now I just see how far I can go because I realize that that is the trait you need. Be willing to sacrifice because you have to understand that you're the one that has to be the most in power, the most aligned, the most connected, if you're going to be able to help other people get to where you are and also show people the way, show people the path. Because most people, like I said, are sacrificing their own growth and who they could be for acceptance from others, um, validation from others. Like I was just basically needing social acceptance, needing to you know be needed by someone or loved by someone. And I'm here telling you that yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice everything to find who I am. And that is something that I didn't have before. I didn't have that confidence. Like I'm willing to sacrifice everything. Like I don't give a fuck, honestly. Uh, you know, I'm not sure if you could feel, but yeah, it's something that I realized the more you could say, lose or, sacrifice, the more I feel I grow. Like I have this energy now of just confidence, power within me, becoming my own, best friend, own companion. And for some that are needing friends or surrounded by friends. It sounds sad, but I've realized that if you this year got more friends, you haven't grown. And that is something that I firmly believe, because like I said, as your frequency rises, you realize most people, society wants you here. Most people, are with society and, trying to be involved with society, being involved in like news, politics, events, whatever it is, keeping up with celebrities. This is all here. This is all frequency that is low, that is constantly needing something external to, make you feel something, chasing feelings that are fake, that are, desires that the devil uses to keep you distracted. So most people are here, and when you start to remove things, you start to elevate because you're staying away from these frequencies. Like, removing news, number one, removing um, these like fake desires, fake things you think you have, these addictions you have, like pornography, um, you know, just Netflix, all these things that keep you here are meant to keep you here. It's not meant to elevate you. The more you remove, the more you elevate your frequency. So if you're willing to sacrifice and remove, more people, some people coming here, um, but essentially removing and being able to sacrifice, like I was saying, be able to remove the things, do it for yourself. Like I was before, not doing things. I thought I was doing things for ego, but for my actual self, like for my soul, my spirit, I was not doing anything. I was simply adding more externally, and adding this, women, experiences, and that's probably you now. But realize that the more you add, the less you actually do for yourself. The more you remove and sacrifice, the more you actually build power within you, because you're removing these dependencies you have on things, people, places, environments, habits, um, vices, like all these things that you're dependent on that you don't see. Even like a smartwatch. Like for me, I made a video about this. I removed the smartwatch and I just connected more, got more in power, and trusted myself more. It's really about building trust within. When you add more things, you find more distractions, and also you depend more on other things. You have less trust within yourself. You actually know less of who you are. So the more you sacrifice, the more you know who you are, because you're just getting to the root core, the core of your being. And it's crazy because it's something that I realized as I hit 30, and I feel like it's a new chapter. This was a couple of months ago. I hit 30, birthday's in August, and it's someone asked me how it feels, and it feels like a whole new life, whole new chapter, mostly because how much I've been able to connect with God, but secondly, just the things I've been learning and the things I've been sacrificing to get more to who I am. And I've grown to love more and more myself, trust myself, admire myself, respect myself, and grow in ways that I didn't think possible in such little time. Like it's been 5 months that I've started working with the coach I have now, and feels like 2 years in terms of the growth I've had, and it's next level. But it's something that you'll see me go through, being able to just hit new levels, and also helping others remove their demons and their lust. Because, like I said, the world is here. You're trying to get above and above, and the more you could say isolate or remove yourself from the world, the more you raise your frequency. But the more you get involved in things of this world, the common things, the popular things to do, or trying to become the popular person, the more you have to be around other people, and that more that puts you in contact with low frequency. So that's what I realized, that the more friends you've made this year, the less you've actually grown. And that is something I stand by fully, because yeah, I don't see frequency doesn't grow by adding more things, especially other people. People that have a million friends, that you see online, or maybe they battle the most demons, or are comfortable with the most demons, or have the most devils, because you're taking on people's energy, people's frequency. And if most people are here and you're trying to get here, you can't get here by having all these people around you. So it's sacrificing, building yourself from the core. And the more you sacrifice, like I said, the harder the sacrifice is, the more the growth. And this is something I did recently today, and I already feel good. I feel empowered with my decision. And I want you guys watching to, you guys are going to see how much more I grow, but understand that sacrificing whatever you have now is the biggest things that help you grow, especially the women. Sacrifice just cold turkey, just sacrifice everything. I know it sounds hard. Nah, fuck that. I want to just, keep partying, whatever it is. But the more you do it, I promise you, the more you'll grow into this like unstoppable person. Because first off, you realize all you need is, you don't need, friends, people that aren't helping you grow, aren't, helping you, giving you energy with what they speak about, and, aren't giving wisdom, because it's all about really wisdom and how you grow each day. If you're in conversations that aren't helping you grow, aren't giving you wisdom, and you're not, getting energy from it, then there's no point in being in those conversations or being in those rooms. As much as those people are nice, nothing against those people. It's just you yourself are doing in the work, are putting in work that maybe they aren't, and you just aren't seeing things eye to eye. You have to basically align yourself. Everything's about aligning yourself. If you're going one direction and you have your mindset on being one person, no vices, living a certain lifestyle, and you are in rooms or deviating with other, types of people, then unfortunately you have to begin to make decisions and realize that it's either your frequency and aligning yourself, or it's, distracting yourself and, deviating and going a bit here and, let me try here, and then lowering your frequency, and you have to like, go better back up, and then you go back down because you like, you don't want to deviate and maybe see some other people you shouldn't be seeing. And it's like I said, nothing against those people, but you have a mission, and that is here to be light in the darkness. That is why you click on this video. That is why something is attracting you to these videos and this message, because you know you're meant for something bigger, and you found your answer, and that is simply removing and sacrificing. And that is when you begin to, like I said, understand who you are, get to the core. And it's hard and it's difficult, and not people are doing it, and people are, you're going to think, or you're going to be criticized for being alone, and, oh, what's this guy doing? But it seems crazy to the outside world, but those that know, and understand the truth, which is all in the Bible, you realize that even Jesus himself says, if they hated you first, realize they hated me first. A perfect man once came and walked the earth, which is Jesus, and he was hated by, spit on, mocked by people of no faith, people of this world that, you try to be accepted by or validated by, like I once was. And, now I realize I'm going against everything. I'm going against all the tide and being my own person. And now I see who's really there and who really understands, what it is to really live, and not live for feelings and desires that are all fake, and lust especially. So those that are lost in lust, watching, realize it's all fake. Whatever your ego is telling you to chase, is all facade and illusion. And it's really what you can sacrifice to become. That is the question. It's not the girl you have to sleep with, or like what now, how many girls now, or what party now, or what country now, or what drug now, or alcohol, or drink. It's, what do I need to sacrifice, or what am I willing to sacrifice to be my best person and raise my frequency to the point where you're connected, aligned, and getting the message from the only wisdom you need, which is God. So that is the video. Hope you guys got some energy from it. I'm feeling good. Trusting myself, like I said, more and more, reflecting that every day. Every day I write that. When I wake up, I reflect in the morning, basic conversation with God, and I say these things. I affirm these things, and I, more and more believe them, get more in touch with that. And like I said, the more I'm sacrificing, the more empowered I feel. And it's crazy, and it sounds weird because the whole world tells you to add, but once you remove and trust yourself more and more, because trust only comes from seeing yourself, being able to see yourself, and removing all of this like layers you have. That's when the game really begins. That's when you level up. That's when you hit levels that you didn't know existed, and feel things you didn't know that you could feel without these external like stimulus. And that's when you really begin to grow and get aligned with your purpose. So if you stay till the end, much love. More coming, especially when I'm able to deliver a message in power and give you guys things that I apply. Everything I say here I apply. I'm not just giving you guys tips that I don't do. And especially, the more you see me grow, the more you'll be able to follow suit, and I'll be able to guide you guys to the light. Like I said, I do coaching for those in lust. I've been lost in that for 3 or 4 years. Got out of that, don't have issues with, thinking about masturbating, or thinking about, dates, or porn or all these like vices you have related to women, dating apps, you know, following women on just social media, DMing girls, like putting all your external energy on things outside of yourself. It's when you begin to build that power within you, like I said, removing things and just, no, no, yeah, no, no. That's when you like start to build, and then you attract, as opposed to like, releasing everything and just like giving your power to this and this and this and this. That's when you get lost. So, if you guys want to follow the habits, the lifestyle, it's on my Instagram. The point I call it the 0.1% lifestyle, because it is. No one's doing, what I've been able to do along with my two coaches and some other people, but it's something that requires a lot of work, and also the spiritual element as well is what makes it the 0.1%, because you can do the habits, you can do the wake up time, the training, the eating, but when you're connected and understand how to stay there, when you're an ego, when you're not an ego, when you're actually aligned with God, that's when you hit new levels. So that's why I said sacrificing is when you get there, and the more you do it, the more you get in touch with yourself. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Much love. Like and subscribe. Comment below as well what you've been able to sacrifice this year, if you've lost friends, and how you've grown from that, or maybe you just fell apart from certain people. And like I said, that's completely fine, because that's how you know you're growing. If you're adding more people or add things in, that means you're actually not growing as much as you think. So God bless. Until next time, as always, keep killing it.